Today we're going to work on some kinjutsu, some sword fighting techniques. Most of the stuff we do at camp, in fact all of them so far, has had some sort of practical application. So it may be harder to figure out the practical application with the sword. Why would we want to learn the sword? It looks cool, right? That's got to be your first rule. What's another reason?
Practicality.
A lot of it applies, right? A lot of the things that you can pick up around, same strikes, everything, used the same way.
Also, what's coming in the very near future that this would make a big difference.
Or if you're into LARPing, role playing, where you dress up and do that. But of course, the first one is the look cool. The other is angles. You're going to see a lot of the angles that we work on with this. This will definitely help you with your angling for sparring. Because with this sticking straight out in front of you, you're not going to come straight in. You have to find a different way in. So most everything off the sword is going to work off of angles. The grip, whenever we start, two-handed grip, doesn't matter if you're left or right-handed in traditional sword fighting. Right hand always goes on top, left hand on bottom. Now for practicality, when you're practicing at home, if you want to switch it up, go for it. I'm a lefty, but right hand on top, right foot forward. As you grab, first hand to grab, to the right, second one to the left. Your grip is tight from the bottom, 2 fingers, loose from the top. So these fingers should be kind of floating, should get tighter as you go down. So that's your grip, one to the bottom, one to the top. Now when you strike, your left hand is called the power hand. So about 60% of the power comes from your left hand on a strike. The right hand is the guiding hand. It's more for angles and guiding the direction. So as we strike, think about that too. The power hand is your left hand, the guiding hand is the right hand. The other thing is we strike, we're used to striking the end of our hand, end of our foot. The striking part or cutting part of the blade is the last third of the blade. So when you're focusing your strikes, this, they call it, roughly translated a sweet spot. It's about a third of the way down. That's ultimately what you want to hit with, unless it's a thrust. Blocking. There's a lot of questions, a lot of debate. What part of the sword would you block with? Some will block with the tip, making it stronger that way. Less likely for your sword to get broke. If it gets hit on the side, it can break, or it might bend. But traditionally, the blade is sacred, so you don't really want to block with your blade. Actually, blocking isn't something that's emphasized. They emphasize more getting out of the way, the angles. The only thing you really do is more carrying. So it's the old Miyagi thing. Best defense is go be there. Best way is to get out of the way, head towards the arms. The other thing is the majority of the strikes are done two-hand, but there are a few exceptions. One of the first ones we're going to do is actually a one-hand. It could be either a strike or a parry. Parries are different than blocks because what you're doing is you're trying to get the sword just kind of out of the way, creating space so you can launch your own attack. And depending on which avenue you go, like I said, under this broad term of kinjutsu, there are several different, you've probably heard of kendo, or in Korean, it's gumdo, but it's where you have the face mask, the armor, and everything. That's more the sports side, like taekwondo. A lot of tournaments more sports side. So they have a lot of rules, a lot of ways you strike. Or you can go to more the aikido or some of those combat type arts. So depending on which one you're doing kind of determines what your methodology is. But we're going to do more the combat side of it. So our very first strike, like I said, most of them are two-handed, but it's going to be one-handed. So everyone stand up. We are going to create a lot of space with swords flying. So I want the front row to come over to this side, face that way.